This show is a little different than any other show in terms of the casting process, only because we never know quite what the person is going to end up doing.
My first day was blindfolded, gagged, bound, thrown into a truck, and it was like, woo, here we go, 24, this is it.
I think I can best liken it to waiting for a train. It arrives, but it's going about 100 miles an hour, and it doesn't stop for you, but you still have to get on. So you just stick your arm out and hope that, you know, it doesn't get torn off. That was sort of like what joining the cast was like.
They keep you on your toes here. You never know what's going to happen to you in the next episode. And of course, what happens to you is just minutes after something just happened to you.
Whatever happens, happens. And if it's better for the show when you go, then that's great, because you're a part of a, you know, a really quality project. But if you're just lingering around being a character that's not doing anything, then it's almost like, you know, you're on that one level where it's almost boring.
Everything that happens in the scenes that keep moving forward, it then has a ripple effect on where their relationship goes.
It's very organic. I mean, nothing is preconceived, so that's what makes it very interesting, too.
Probably the way I came to the show is different than the way most people come to the show. I had a chance encounter at my chiropractor's office, who also happens to look after Joel Surnow, the creator of the show. And it was my first time meeting this particular chiropractor. And he just said, hey, do you like 24? And I said, I love it. He said, would you want to meet the creator of the show? I said, sure. So he walked me down the hall, and he opened the door and said, this is Joel. Joel, this is Sean. He's a big fan of 24. And Joel jumped up and said, hey, you want to be on the show? I said, I'd kill to be on the show. He said, then you're on the show. And we shook hands, and I was just like, it was one of those electric moments.
They're very like cowboys here. They decide what it is they want to do as they're going. What makes it interesting from an acting point of view is that you do not know where you're headed.
So no one has any guarantees. So it's no different for people who have just joined the show or people that have been doing the show for a while.
I spent every week of the first year thinking it was going to be my last week. And then when I sort of went from just being strictly annoying to actually doing something for Jack, then the tide was sort of changing. I knew maybe I would be around for a little while.
What's happening?
I don't know yet, but we're gonna find out.
There is a little bit of joking, though. There's kind of gallows humor among the cast sometimes about, you know, who may get killed off. If you have a day when you really can't quite master as quickly and easily as you'd like to the reams of dialogue that you have to deliver, and you're walking out of there, you kind of think, they're gonna look at this day and they're gonna say, you know what? It's time for Lynn to slip and fall on a, on a grease stain in the CTU at the top of the stairs there. You know, oh, sorry, Lynn's not there. We'll bring in the next guy, you know. But it's fun while it lasts.
I sort of found it really freeing right off the bat. Yeah, there was always the possibility of people being killed off, but I guess I learned quickly, you know, I wasn't really gonna worry about that.
We're second-guessing ourselves all the time now because it's like this, it's a moving target, it's fluid, and we never know how far something's going to go. So trying to just hire the best actor that's going to be able to do the broadest range of things while still serving what's on the page, you know, the moment we cast it.
One of the great things about what they've done in the past with some of the villains that you've seen turn on the show, they don't tell them a thing. And so I think it's an advantage in that case because it allows you to play this character in a very straightforward manner. And then when the turn happens, people are like, whoa. And that's what's been great about it.
You're a traitor. No. No, Mr. President, I am a patriot.
And that's why this show's so, you know, I think intense. Just, you never know what you're gonna get.
You can stick a lot of people in a lot of different slots, and it just keeps moving forward, you know. And, you know, it has a lot to do with the staff. It has a lot to do with Kiefer, who is the ultimate pro here and sets the really perfect example. So you can't be wandering much off the line when you got a guy working as hard as he's working, you know.
He's a hard-working, great actor, Kiefer, and he sets a standard here. Not only is he talented, but he comes to work every day with ingenuity and interest. And that, again, is, I think, one of the great things about this show, that the people in charge here, the writers, the leading actor, and directors, they're always trying to make it better. They care about it, see, and it matters.
The camera crew is quite different on this show than in any other project that I've worked with. I mean, these guys are constantly giving their ideas on alterations in scenes or things we could do differently. they'll get great stuff, and then they'll say, can we try it? I don't know, because we want to try it messier. That's what I love about the show. It's got that sort of kind of messed up, dirty look to it sometimes.
The most amazing thing about this company and the way they operate is that they genuinely regard the actors as pure collaborators, and that doesn't necessarily ever happen. It's mostly just shut up and say your words. You know, that doesn't happen here.
I don't think a lot of people understand that if you go onto a set and people are like even slightly unhappy, which happens a lot because it's a really hard job, it makes people miserable, but on this show, there is such a camaraderie and sense of goodwill. The crew really feels like they can be creative, and everyone's job is respected and everyone's proud of the show, and it really makes such a difference because it puts people in a good mood. And a lot of these people have been together since the first season, so it's a real machine.
On this show, on 24, I knew that I could trust the machine. And by the machine, I just mean the writing staff, the producers, the directors, the cast, Kiefer in particular, to sort of set the course. And my kind of job, my challenge was just to be able to step in and start marching in time with everybody else.
Let go of me, let go of me, let go.
The directors are wonderful. They really write interesting women on this show.
I will have your family eating dog food out of a can.
They pretty much gave me free rein with Martha. They set up my character as kind of volatile in the beginning, so nothing could be better than that first scene as a way of introducing the character. To me, that was such brilliant writing because it spoke volumes about her without saying a word. And it carried through in the next several scenes. You see this woman, you know, bedraggled and dripping wet, and if she'd still been sort of lovely and coiffed, I can't imagine what the effect would have been. You would have thought, oh, well, she's upset.
I'm sorry, look, I know I'm late, I'm sorry. I'm having a bad hair day.
I think that she just doesn't control her impulses very well. I think that she doesn't think them through.
It's kind of weird to be somebody who has a job that's, you know, that most normal people wouldn't have, and to find different variations of playing that level of intensity because there's always a high alert level.
Okay, when we find the nerve gas and the alert level drops, we can have some chamomile tea and I'll tell you all my secrets, okay?
I'll read something that nobody would ever say to another person, but I'll forget that it's Chloe, so I'll come in first thing in the morning and be like, I can't say, you know, I'm not talking to you right now. Like, no, you can't say that when you're working in the CTU. But then I remember that it's sort of Chloe, and she has that, like, sort of, like, heightened, she's just in her own special world and doesn't really understand how to relate to anybody else. So then that makes it okay.
What am I looking for?
Check and see if anyone used Lynn's key card to enter CTU in the last 4 hours.
I'm Bill Buchanan. I'm the head of CTU, man. I don't have to do anything even but just stand here and be Bill Buchanan. Under these circumstances, that's enough because, you know, the world is relying on me, along with Jack and Chloe and everybody else here, to save them from this threat. That's huge.
Take them all into custody, including Mr. Manning.
If you try to carry that command, I will draw my weapon.
If he draws his weapon, shoot him.
This situation's already getting out of control. Don't make it worse. What I've enjoyed is kind of like, he plays a very heroic character, but he's also not afraid to do some pretty bad things.
Don't move!
There's right, there's wrong. I won't go past it until you force me to act. And he's not doing it for selfish reasons. He's doing it because he should and he needs to. And I kind of like it. He's not just a good guy to be a good guy. He's a good guy because I guess that's just truly what he is. And I like that about him.
What is Jack Bauer doing here? Why is he under arrest? And why wasn't I told?
I play Pierce with a bit of a Southern accent, and that may be disappointing to viewers to hear that that's created, but it's also a real dialect because I grew up in Texas. So actually, when I play him like this, I'm going back to the way I was raised to speak.
Are you aware President Logan's issued a warrant for your arrest for your role in David Palmer's assassination?
It was just a choice that I made. I know that a lot of these men are military men. They have a lot of stern backbone and so forth. And for some reason, characters like this, deeper voice than Pierce. These guys are a lot of generals, a lot of admirals, and people that sound like this. And I thought, you know, that'll be a nice essence to bring to the head of the Secret Service. So it was merely a choice. I rolled the dice with that, and it worked.
I came on as what they call a recurring character who may never come back. Going through the second season, I became shockingly the traitor. I wasn't really, but it appeared to be so. And at the end of the season, the president forgave the entire world, but he didn't forgive me, and he fired me.
I'm relieving you of your post, effective immediately.
That's where it was at until last year. I came back as Greg Itzin, President Logan's chief of staff. So much like the rest of the people in Washington, I just shift parties, you know, like these talking heads on TV. They just jump from one job to another.
I don't care how you do it. I don't care what it takes. Fix it.
They called me last Christmas and said, would you like to play the vice president? They said, here's the story with him. He becomes the president because the president gets shot down. So, as I like to say, he had greatness thrust upon him. And what it is that he doesn't know how to deal with it. He cannot make decisions, and he's scared. You see that he cares, but he also has a really short fuse. He's basically not very happy with himself because he's not doing the job. So you always take it out on those around you when you're mad at yourself.
Do you realize what kind of political and economic capital I've spent just to get the Russians to the table?
I've never been given somebody as rich as this. Usually on TV, you're emblematic. You're one thing, you're another. You're the good guy, you're the bad guy. But to be allowed to be all things and to be the leader of the country, you know, that's very exciting.
Should be the lovely Gene Smart and the hopefully handsome Gregory Itzin. From like 20 years ago, 20-some years ago, I don't know when it was, a long time ago. We did a play called Mrs. California, and she was one of the contestants, and I was like an MC kind of guy, and just so happened that we took a cast picture in close proximity. So doesn't that look like the, you know, like the junior senator from somewhere or another and his lovely wife?
But it is funny to hear the other sides of actors, especially when you see them playing a very distinctive kind of character. Like Jude Ciccolella, who plays Mike Novick, is a singer, folk singer. And he's got some CDs, you know, and you look at that character and you would never think that. Or Gregory Itzin. Gregory's the perfect example of a person who, and I tell this to everybody, he walks on the set, I mean, comes to work, and here's this cute guy in his denim jacket, and his hair's kind of spiky, and he's got pierced ears, and he's got tattoos, and this really gorgeous smile, and he's a big flirt. And then he comes out of the trailer and he's President Logan. You think, oh my God, where did that come from? It's just amazing, the difference.
I teach here in Hollywood right now when I can. About a year ago, right before I started this gig, as a matter of fact, a friend of mine approached me about starting an acting school. And I said, well, let's do this. So I started to do it, and here's the deal. What it was is it reminded me of all the things that I knew but had taken for granted and had forgot thinking about in my daily workings as an actor. Having an objective, what are my actions, really listening, being still, playing through the other person, all those things that I pretty much do by instinct. This reminded me of it again as I tried to tell them how to improve their work. I used to believe I didn't have anything to tell anybody. I said, what am I going to say? And then as I started saying it, and they started listening, and I started seeing the results of it, I realized that I did have something that was important to give away.
I've always loved music. I'm not formally trained, and I used to drive guys crazy singing in the showers back in athletics, you know, and imitating rock stars and all. And finally I started writing songs on the guitar, and I recorded my first album 10 years ago, and I've recorded a couple of more, and I'm in the process of putting my newest one together.
I did stand-up comedy when I first moved here. I've been in Los Angeles for like 10 years, and that's what I did, was comedy shows, and that's how I started getting work, and I still do some live stuff. I would just describe it as like based in my own uncomfortableness or like personal problems or personal neuroses. Like for a while, my whole act was sort of me talking about different reasons why I couldn't be on stage, you know, and then 3/4 of the way through I would say like, I'm gonna get to my act in a second, I just need to explain to you, but then that would of course be the act.
Oh, I love football. I love football. Football is like, I don't leave my house for 6 months. I love going to Vegas, I love betting on the games, you know? I love that. That to me is real action. Betting college football and NFL, I just think there's nothing more exciting than that. Vegas is one of my little fun spots. But I'm a traveling guy too. Like, I don't like flying as much, but I get in my car and I drive everywhere. Like Big Bear, Santa Barbara, Palm Springs, Vegas, every week if I could. I just get my car and we go a night here, 2 nights there, just to travel all around. I like to travel a little bit. It breaks it up, you know?
Well, I've always been into writing. You know, I've written as long as I've been acting, so I'm always involved in writing. It's just sort of a hobby/career. More hobby lately. But I've always been into writing and love to do it. I've brought in scenes that they've used, that I've written here before, that they liked and incorporated, you know, and where do you get to do that? You know, what other television show does that? None that I know of.
For the last 3.5 months, I've been taking care of a son. I have a new baby boy, so that's been taking up all my time. When I'm not here, it's all about him.
My grandkids play a little polo. So we have my hobby's horses. So I have a lot of horses around. I played 20 years ago. I played for about 10 years, 12 years. Very quick sport, difficult when you get older. You have to pay attention. I have a tendency not to pay attention anymore.
When I studied to be a teacher, I had no intention of teaching, but I decided that would deepen my understanding of my yoga practice and of the yoga philosophy, so I trained to teach. Well, it's a physical practice. I practice certainly the physical practice, but more than that, it calms my mind. It keeps me focused. Being a teacher informs my acting, being an actor informs my teaching, and my yoga informs everything I do.
Not only do I make my living as an actor, but perhaps an even greater love of mine is motivational speaking. I work with people on how to process things in a favorable manner that serves them and that bolsters their lives rather than impedes their lives. And it is a live presentation, about a 3.5-hour program, and I travel all over the country doing it, and I feel it is the real reason I'm here. Certainly to be an actor as well, but I love to make a difference in people's lives. And it has me feeling a sense of connectedness to where, I really mean this when I say it, I have no enemies. I have no enemies because I feel a oneness with everyone. I cannot tell you how true that is on the set of 24.
I think what I'll always remember about the show is incredible camaraderie and teamwork that goes into making it, really. It's just like no other project I've ever worked on.
When you do get something along the lines of 24 and Kiefer Sutherland, it's such a unique experience for an actor. And when you get the quality of this character, for me, that I think that is really sort of the highlight, you know, and I definitely cherish it.
I give so much credit to the directors and producers, an enormous amount of credit to Kiefer, you know, because that all starts at the top and filters down. And it is truly the most easygoing set I've ever been on.
You know, I've never before worked with a crew or a cast that I genuinely miss when I'm away, and I'm genuinely on a soul level happy to see when I come back.
Yeah, I think when I reflect back on my experience on 24, my fondest memories will be just working with Kim and James and Mary Lynn and Louie. You know, just being there. We had some fun because there are certain days in CTU when you just you start to go a little mental, and that camaraderie, that acting camaraderie, was pretty fun.
This is my other family. These are the people that I share with. We know each other. They share themselves with me. And that, to me, is the primary beauty. The secondary beauty is that we make this wonderful TV show together.